Hey everybody, Dr. Axe here. Welcome to another live. I'm so excited about today's live. We're going to be talking about probably the number one thing it takes for you to experience a breakthrough in your health or your wealth or your business or any area of life. So we're going to dive in this today. And I have a study from Harvard that I think is going to blow your mind. And we're going to talk about who you spend time with. We're going to talk about community, and I'm going to answer some of your questions all on the live today. But before we get into some of the research and the science, do me a favor, punch the share button, click the love button, help me spread the word that mindset is medicine, and let me know the city you're from, the state you're from, the country you're from. I'll look to give you a shout out right now on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for everybody who's joining me. It looks like we have Josh Sings is here. Chris Bell Vlogs is on here as well. Again, everybody, thanks for joining me here today. Today we're going to be talking about something, by the way, that has radically changed my life. This principle I'm going to talk about is what I believe helped save my mom's life, helped me overcome. You may know I haven't been on very often for the past year, well, at all for a year up until last week, because I had a spinal infection and couldn't walk for a year, was told I might be disabled the rest of my life. I'm glad to say I'm recovering. I'm actually back walking, working out now, moving a lot, so I'm going to have a complete recovery. But what I'm going to share with you today was a key to me healing, and also during that same time growing my business. You know, one of the questions I get outside of health questions, I get a lot of questions from entrepreneurs about how I grew my businesses, like draxe.com and Ancient Nutrition. And you may not know, I also have other businesses, leaders.com. It's a online personal growth platform that gets into leadership and professional growth and all kinds of other things. We talk about habits on there and a lot of different things. And so, but I get a lot of questions about that as well. And so you might be one of those people, maybe a business owner. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of that today as well. But this principle is going to be important for a lot of different areas of your life, both health and wealth, and lots of others. All right, we have people joining me from all over the country right now. We got Mary Quintero from California. We have Vincent from, looks like Santa Monica. We have Nicole from Trinidad and Tobago. We have David watching from Costa Rica. Catrice Owens from Michigan. Hey, thanks everybody for joining me here today. So excited to talk about today's live. Okay, so we're going to jump in, and I'm going to start talking about having a community of purpose. And listen to this stat. I'm going to pull up some of these stats here because these are going to blow your mind. I did some research in preparing for today and wanted to share some of the most recent medical literature and studies. Now, here's one of the things Harvard found. So listen to this. In an article in Harvard Business Review, Dr. Vivek Murthy, he's a surgeon, or actually was the former Surgeon General. He said, loneliness and weak social connections. So listen, weak social connections. If you don't feel like you have a really strong community in a certain area of your life, and by the way, this community could be your health community. It could be your professional community. It could be your family. So any of these, your friend group. But if you have a weak social connection in any area of your life, it does you harm. Now, specifically, general weak social connections, here's what they said in this study. Listen to this. Weak social connections are associated with a reduction in lifespan similar to that caused by smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and even greater than that associated with obesity. So if you don't have a really strong friend group, it actually is as bad for you as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and worse for you than being obese and taking years off your life. And so we're having an epidemic right now of loneliness and mental health issues because of weak social connections. And I'd love to hear from you if you've noticed this with a lot of people. Listen, you might be in this boat, and I have some advice for you today with this. But maybe you see that maybe when you were a kid, there's weaker social connections now than there were before. And why do you think that is? So I'd love to hear from you. Why do you think we have such weak social connections today? Now I want to share a few things here as well, such as COVID. when we went through COVID and everybody was told to mask and social distance, people started getting together less. And I think a lot of people started spending more time online than meeting in person. In fact, a lot of businesses went from being in person where you were meeting with your colleagues all day, 5 days a week, to people working almost entirely from home. And so that affected it. So COVID was one of those things that actually caused weak social connections. But think about this. By the government telling you to not get around other people, there are side effects, right? And that was a lot of things people didn't talk about was the addiction rates going up, right? So during COVID, the government recommended certain things, and because you weren't getting around each other, what it did is increased alcoholism, increased drug abuse, people losing their businesses, and so it caused mental health issues like depression and anxiety and major worry, right? So there's all of these side effects. But one of the biggest side effects was isolation and loneliness and you not feeling like you were connected to other people. And so that was the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It was worse than obesity. So by not being around other people, there are major side effects. And the big thing is if you don't have a close-knit, strong community. And by the way, this is true with every area. And by the way, we're getting some great comments here. Brandy says one of the biggest reasons she believes is social media and the overuse of social media, because those are not real connections. It's kind of like you're on a slot machine in a casino. Your body is spitting out dopamine, and basically what's happening is you're not having real social connection. Now listen, I think you can do several hours a week of social media and that's just fine. It's when you're doing it 5 hours a day and you're not also in addition getting really good connection to other people. So that's important. COVID's another one. So you guys are making so many great points here in the comment sections on why on why we're dealing with a lot of mental health issues today. Again, I would love to hear from you as well, and any of the rest of you, on why we have so many mental health issues. All right, by the way, I want to jump into something now, and it's called a community of purpose. And so if you truly want to have deep and meaningful relationships, you want to build a community of purpose. And this will take your health and your business and everything else to a whole new level. And there's a principle, and I started off talking about this for a minute. I get a lot of questions where people ask me health questions, but I also get questions about business and being an entrepreneur or just your career. And so one of the questions I get is, Dr. Draxe, how did you grow your personal brand? Right now on YouTube, I have 2.2 million people who follow me on there, close to 900,000, so getting near 1 million on Instagram, and I believe over 2 million on Facebook. And so I have a lot of people that follow me. And then similar thing, I've built businesses at draxe.com, ancientnutrition.com, and 5 businesses that have really transformed a lot of lives. And the way that I really built those businesses, and one of the key areas was I had really great iron sharpens iron, so people around me who knew how to grow their business and how to improve their life. And so that's key. Listen, if you want to grow in any area of your life, the number one principle is who you spend time with. It's actually called Dunbar's Law. So this isn't just an idea, it's an actual law. If you're not spending time around the right people, that area of your life will decrease or stay stagnant. And so if you're a person right now saying, I want my health to get better, one of the top things you can do, maybe even the number one thing you can do outside of, you can eat healthy, you can exercise, those are important. But what's probably just as important for those lasting a long period of time is leveling up or upgrading your friend group. I'll tell you this, if you hang out with 5 very unhealthy people that don't want to work out and don't like to eat healthy, it will affect your health. Versus if you're hanging around people saying, I want to be the best I can be. I want to eat healthy food. I want to go and exercise. I want to live to be 90 years old and still healthy. If you're around 5 people like that, that's going to up-level your health. Same thing, one of the things my wife and I, Chelsea, are very committed and conscious of is the people we spend around our time for our own marriage. And we believe that principle that you become who you surround yourself with. Again, it's called Dunbar's Law. And the people you spend more time around or that are more in your inner circle will have a greater influence on you. So Chelsea and I, we have some we have some couples we love spending time with. Sean and Andrew East, you've probably seen them on YouTube. They're pretty well known. Isaac and Steph Meek, they run and operate $5 Bakery in Nashville, Tennessee. So we have some couples that we really like spending time with because we believe in iron sharpens iron. And by the way, have you noticed that in your own life? Have you ever spent time around somebody and you just found that they were bringing you down, it was the wrong person, versus you got around somebody that was motivated, inspiring, they were hungry, they were humble. Those people helped elevate you. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had anybody influence you that way in your business or your health or any area of your life? So this is a principle that's absolutely so important. By the way, if you're enjoying this live broadcast, do me a favor, punch the share button, click the love button, help me spread the word about mindset medicine and how to grow yourself. And we're even talking about growing your business today as well. So again, it's that iron sharpens iron principle. So when people ask me, how did I grow draxe.com? How did I grow Ancient Nutrition? So we're going to talk about career for a minute. It was because I spent time around the right type of people. I spent time in something called a mastermind group where I got together with a certain group of people and they really caused me to grow. By the way, I have a group of people that I meet with and I help them build and grow their businesses. And so if you're interested in getting some guidance from me, mentorship, and be part of this mastermind group that I actually am a part of and help lead, hey, send me a DM that's a direct message. You can send it on Instagram or Facebook. So send me a DM and say, Dr. Axe, I'm interested in your mentoring group or your mastermind group. So send me a message if you're interested and I can send you more information about it. But again, I just wanted to drop that in there because that's the biggest thing that changed my career. I started getting around other people that knew about how to communicate on video and how to do social media and how to build a purpose-driven business. Friends like Jordan Rubin, right? So I got around these sort of people. The other people I spent around time with, people like Jordan Rubin, Michael Hyatt, Donald Miller, Lewis House, some of these different, Andrew East, these are people that Rory Vaden, some people you might even recognize, some people I spent time with, and it helped me grow my businesses and take them to a whole new level. And it was the same thing with my health life. I want to share, Chelsea and I had a rhythm in Nashville, and with Sean and Andrew East, where we would do breakfast. On every Saturday, we would do a workout together. We do an hour-long workout, and then we would go do brunch afterwards at True Food Kitchen. And so we start building these healthy habits with people in our lives, and it allowed us to grow in our marriage and grow in our health and grow in our businesses. But listen, that's the biggest thing. And listen, I'd love to hear if you've experienced this in your life. If you've experienced that the people you spend time with is one of the greatest factors of you upgrading and leveling up your life. I'm telling you right now, if you want to change the directory of your business or your career or your health or any of those areas, it's iron sharpens iron. It's that principle that Solomon talked about in the book of Proverbs is absolutely key. By the way, I see some people making some great comments here. Terry says, toxic people are just talking heads and totally bringing me down. Yeah, it happens a lot. We get people around us constantly that do that. And so it's important that your inner circle, those people that you spend the most time with, are purpose-driven people. And I call it a community of purpose. And so here's what a community of purpose is. You say, okay, I'm gonna get around a certain group of people. I'm gonna be intentional about spending time with people that I know are gonna push me to grow. People that I can also help push them to grow. We share the same values in life. One of the things I found through COVID, and you might have noticed this as well, is there's a lot of people who I found out did share my values and a lot of people that didn't share my values. Values around natural health. Values around freedom, values around faith over fear. A number of these values that were really important to Chelsea and I, we started finding these things. And I'd love to hear if you found a similar thing in your own life as well. So it's a really, really important principle as well. So iron sharpens iron. Here's another big one that really will help you grow your life and your business. And that's the principle of mentorship and modeling. I've found in my life that really mentorship is so important. I was really blessed to have, a number of doctors and pastors and entrepreneurs and people really so into me. And so that's what I try and do as much as I can for other people. It's also why I started what I mentioned, the Leaders Mastermind group. And that mentorship group is because I had people like Michael Hyatt and Jordan Rubin and other people invest and mentor me. And because of that, I want to do that for others, helping people grow purpose-driven lives, purpose-driven businesses. And by the way, if you are humble, hungry, and you want to change the world in business, hey, send me a DM, that's a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, or look in the comments here, but send me a direct message and I'll send you more information about the group there as well. Okay, by the way, I have a quote here you're going to love by Mark Twain, I think. So here's this quote. He says, "Stay away from those people who try to disparage your ambitions. Small minds will always do that, but great minds will give you a feeling that you can become great too." That's the key. When you get around the right mentors and peers, those friends alongside of you, they will make you feel like you can become great and like you're capable of doing great things. Let me ask you right now, does your friend group do that right now? Do they make you feel like you are capable of doing great things? Do they push you to grow and to be your absolute best? If not, you need a different inner circle. I'm not saying you need to get rid of all your friends and completely radically change everything, but you need a group of people as well. By the way, I have R.I. Daly who says, "My husband would like to be in your mastermind group." R.I. Daly, please just send a direct message and we'll get you more information there. Got a lot of people asking about this as well. So great. So isn't that quote great? So Mark Twain said that's one of the feelings you should get. By the way, one of the things I love to do in this group is I love to find their giftings and help people cultivate and grow that. By the way, you should do that in others. One, you should always be being mentored, whether that be with a business mentor or a pastor or a spiritual leader or somebody who really is really great in their in their marriage life or relationships or your health, right? You should always be being mentored by somebody, and then you should always be mentoring someone yourself. Now, if you're a parent, you're a natural mentor, right? I mean, that's important to know. By the way, listen to this quote by Andy Stanley. This is so powerful. "Your greatest accomplishment may not be something you do, but someone you raise." That could be kids. It could also be someone you raise up. Think about Jesus and the disciples, right? He raised up 12 individuals, 12 disciples that went on to transform the world. By the way, did you know that any time history has shifted, it's tended to be a group of people that changed history? Think about the early philosophers. Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Those Greek philosophers radically shifted the world in the way we think about science and philosophy today. Think about the greatest artists that have ever lived. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, these Florentine artists all lived in Florence, Italy in the same time. And so you'll notice this throughout history. And then we had, the early part of last century, you had people like John Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, Ford, and all these others that they met together as a group and caused themselves to grow. You can also look at writers like C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. They were part of a writing group together. So you'll see that it is absolutely essential. If you're going to see a breakthrough in your life, in health, in wealth, in any area, that you get around the right people. One thing I want you to do while you're on this video right now is I want you to write down who are write down maybe 2 people that you know you need to spend less time with. They're people that maybe are sucking your energy. They're not encouraging to you. By the way, have you ever had this happen? You're on a diet. You're trying to eat healthy or do something, and then they're like, "Hey, here's another donut. Here's another cookie." Essentially, trying to sabotage your efforts. Versus, write down now 3 people that you need to start spending more time with. Who are those people? And it may be an acquaintance and you need to pursue a relationship with them, but who are some people locally? Now also write down 1 or 2 mentors. Who are those people you need to learn from now? By the way, again, my examples of this throughout the past several years have been, again, people like Michael Hyatt, Jordan Rubin, Donald Miller, some people that have become really good friends of mine. Spending more time around those people is something I'm really focusing on. And so, again, being really conscious of that, write down who are those 3 people you need to spend more time with, and who are those 2 people you need to start listening to more, getting mentored by more in that way as well. So please, and by the way, feel free to write down who are a couple of those mentors. Here's the thing I recommend. Try and get one in-person mentor. It could be a spiritual mentor, a fitness mentor, something like that. Somebody who can really help, who is kind of much further along than you. And then maybe someone online. For instance, someone I love, and I know he's a polarizing figure, I love watching Jordan Peterson. I'm a huge Jordan Peterson fan from the standpoint of he has a really great understanding of human psychology and why people do what they do. And so, that's a person that I follow and I watch a good amount of his content. Another person I watch a lot of on the health side is someone like Andrew Huberman. He's got a lot of great science and research at Stanford University and some of what he's putting out. So I have people that I'm constantly following as well. And some of them are peers. Some of them are further ahead of me in different areas in life. And so it's an important thing to have that yourself there as well. I want to remind you, by the way, hey, if you're enjoying this live stream, do me a favor, punch the share button, click the love button, help me spread the word about mindset medicine. All of these things are so good for your mindset and helping you grow in every area of life. By the way, if you yourself, or maybe it's a spouse, or maybe it's someone you know, wants to build a purpose-driven business, and they need mentorship in their business, hey, send me a DM, a direct message, or send this video to them and say, hey, you've got to watch this video. Send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, and I will send you more information there about the mentorship group I lead and the mastermind group I lead. If you yourself want some career or business mentorship, you can be part of it. By the way, this mastermind group is amazing. We have some really, really high level. We have people that are health coaches. We've got chiropractors, we have functional medicine practitioners, we have people in the MLM space, we have people in the real estate space, we have people all over, just a lot of entrepreneurs. So no matter where you are in business, this is a great group to be a part of. We meet in Nashville most often, or most of it's almost all virtual. But we do 3 live events a year as well. But again, you get a lot. Also, we teach you how to build your personal brand online. So if you want to do something that I've been really blessed to be able to do in growing your Instagram and your Facebook and your YouTube account, how do you build a big personal brand that's changing and transforming lives? We teach you to do that in this group as well. I want to share something else with you, and I think this is really powerful. And maybe you've already seen this, and this is to my point why I think that your community is so important. Listen to these side effects. And now this has to do with family. The ultimate community is family, right? But then I'm going to take this idea with family, and then I'm going to put it back out there with your health and your career. So listen to these stats. These are stats related to fatherless homes. And this is one of the biggest epidemics in the world today. By the way, if you agree with me, click the the love button or a thumbs up or whatever you think. But having a father not being present in the home, either not being a father who's really present consciously or not there at all with a family, is one of the most damaging things that can happen to society. Listen to these stats. If somebody lives in a fatherless home, there's an 81% increase in teen pregnancy. There's an 85% increase in behavioral issues. There's a 71% increase in the son going to prison. There's a 41% increase in then those kids being more poor and having less money. And there is a great increase in for young girls in sexual promiscuity. And self-control and joining gangs. So these stats are unbelievable. So here's this principle. We need mentors. We need father and mother figures in our life. And here's the thing that I think I really want to impress upon you. And this is a life lesson here. This isn't just within your family. One, Fathers and mothers, I want to encourage you, show up. That's the most important job you'll ever have. But in addition, once you graduate, from high school and maybe go on, and whether you get a job or you don't do anything or you get a career, I guess maybe you're living in your parents' basement, right? So there's a lot of things that can happen once you graduate high school. But once you are out of the care of your parents, oftentimes we no longer, maybe we don't have mentors anymore. So think about this. For the first 18 years of your life, a lot of you people had a father and a mother. Once you go beyond that, you sort of need these father and mother figures in other areas of your life. I want to give you an example for myself. I had incredible parents. My dad was all about discipline. Like I walked in the house, he would have me do push-ups and pull-ups, every time I walked in, and those sort of habits. He would discipline me. He would give me life advice, all of these great things. But when I went on to college, I didn't have that. I didn't have mentorship. And by the way, my dad wasn't an entrepreneur. My dad worked 9 to 5 at the phone company. My dad served in Vietnam and in the military, the U.S. Army, and then he worked for like 45 years at the same company. Okay, the one company his whole career. But he didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. So when I got out, my dad taught me all these life lessons, but nothing about business. So I needed to find a father figure in business. And I needed to find a father figure in terms of my own spiritual growth. And so I went and found a pastor I started meeting with and got in his small group and started learning from. And then I found business mentors. Like I had a group called Maximize Living. There was a group of doctors. And I got mentorship from Ben Lerner and Greg Loman and Chuck Majors and Joe Bohemian and some amazing doctors who mentored me. And so they mentored me in my career. And then I met Jordan Rubin and I got mentorship there. And then Michael Hyatt. And so I had these father figures in my life that helped me grow my business and my brand and just helping people more than ever before. So think about these same stats. I would guarantee if you look at or ask people in business if they have a really, really great mentor / father figure in their life, those people are going to be so much more successful than those people that don't have that person in their life. Do you see what I'm saying? We're talking about the different stats here with fatherless homes. We're extrapolating here. We're taking that same principle and moving it over to your business and career success and your health and your wealth. I remember Tony Robbins asked somebody many years ago, he said, you know what? He was trying to create a financial breakthrough in his life. And he said, you know what? I'm trying to eventually become a billionaire. And he said, well, Tony, who are you hanging around with? He said, well, that's the thing. I'm hanging around with a lot of wealthy people. I'm hanging around with a lot of millionaires. He's like, that's your problem. You need to hang out with billionaires. Listen, this isn't about money. It's that idea, though. If you want to be a billionaire in your health, if you want to take your career to the next level, it's all about who you spend time with. They start rubbing off on you. You start thinking like them. You can start modeling the things that they've done. And I started noticing when I understood this principle, I joined a mastermind group myself and started hanging around a different type of people. And all of a sudden my career went from kind of going like this to boom. It just took off. And the same thing I found in my spiritual growth. I started hanging around with some incredible pastors. I started growing spiritually like never before. Similar thing in my health. I started getting around certain health and fitness people and doctors of functional medicine. In fact, this is what saved my mom's life. I started learning from functional medicine doctors how to take care of cancer. I started using those principles with my mom, and my mom, her life was saved. She's in her 70s now, and she's healthy and in the best shape of her life. So this principle of having a community of purpose. So here's what you want to think about. Who are those people who share your values and your purpose? Spend time around them. Here's one thing Chelsea and I did really early on. We started doing food nights. So one night a month, we started doing a night where we had different food nights around a different sort of culture. So we would do like an Italian food night or a Mexican food night or a Thai food night. So we had all these different food nights. We'd invite over these people that we knew were iron sharpens iron, spend time with them. And then often what we would do is we may take 30 minutes or so and just say, hey, everybody share one one of your biggest learnings in marriage and share that with the group. And so maybe one night we talk about marriage, and another night we talk about business. And sometimes the men would get together and the women would break off in groups and talk a little bit. But generally it was just food, it was fun, it was spending time together. But be intentional about who you spend time with. And by the way, I've got a few more questions here. If you are wondering, by the way, if you're enjoying this training, do me a favor, punch the share button, click the love button, help me spread the word about building a community of purpose. How crazy were those fatherless home statistics? Most people don't know how important that is and how important mentorship and discipleship is throughout your entire life. And by the way, if you want to get some mentorship from me in business specifically, I have a mastermind group I run and I'm a part of. And so you can send a direct message, a DM to my on Facebook or Instagram, and I can send you more information about this mastermind and leadership group. And then also, if you're saying you know somebody, think about, do you know someone out there who needs business mentorship? Maybe they already have a purpose-driven business, but you know they'd benefit from getting around more purpose-driven entrepreneurs and business owners. Hey, send this to them. Let them know about that mastermind and business group as well. I appreciate everybody for that as well. Okay, I want to answer some of your questions now. Feel free to ask me absolutely anything right now, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube right now. I'm answering your questions, so feel free to answer me your questions. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. Lots of great questions. So one thing that somebody's asking, can you recommend a woman to follow as a mentor? I can. So let me answer some questions here, and let me tell you some of the people I follow. And it depends on the area of life you're talking about. You know, Chelsea and I have a couple good friends, and it's John and Lisa Bevere. So if you want more like, the power of a female in business, but also spiritual as well, I really think that Lisa Bevere has some incredible things she's putting out there. We're talking about mindset. I also like Dr. Caroline Leaf. She has some really good things around psychology and mindset. There's somebody online, I think, who's putting out really good psychology info. Her name is, I may be mispronouncing her name. I need to learn it, but Shade Zahri, Shade, and then Zahrai. So those are some women, I think, but I really like, and I'll post this in the comments if you look later. I will post some women and men, both, that I like to follow and their social channels. So we'll get those posted here later. I saw someone just mention they come from a fatherless home. You know, one of the things I'll say is that if you came from a fatherless home, then go and find somebody, whether it be at a church or a synagogue or a men's or women's leadership group or what. Find somebody to help. By the way, here's another big thing, and this is so important. If you do find a mentor or you get in a mastermind group, be humble and be hungry. Be willing to take feedback and ask for feedback. And if they say something that you maybe don't even agree with, do your best to embrace it. That is so key to growth. Listen, here, the opposite of humility is pride. If you're prideful, you already know it all. You have all the answers. So you literally cap your growth. So it is so important that you are humble and you realize you don't know it all. And then also you're hungry. You say, I want to change lives. I want to grow. I want to be the best I can be. So it's that combination of being hungry and humble that's absolutely crucial. So if you find a mentor, have good questions for them. And then when they give you advice, follow it. So key to growth there as well. Okay. One of the things I'm going to do here, I have a friend here helping me. Dave, can you bring me my phone here on Instagram? I'm going to answer some other questions here as well from everybody. Okay. All right. All right, so let me answer some of your questions. Okay, what are some things I can do to overcome digest? My father has lymphoma. It's a big motivation for me to learn about natural medicine. That's a question by Ashley. My father has lymphoma. It's a big motivation. So Ashley, what I would say is from a business standpoint, I recommended that group, Leaders Mastermind. By the way, there's also a nutrition certification where you can learn all of the way that I practice functional medicine. It's called the Health Institute. It's the functional nutrition course. So I think if you go to or look up Dr. Axe functional nutrition course, or I'll put a link in here for you, Ashley. This is for you on Facebook. But again, if anyone here wants to learn about how I practice natural medicine and become a certified nutritionist or certified nutrition coach, there's a certification that takes 6 months. It's the absolute premier of that. And so I'll put a link in there for you, Ashley. But for lymphoma, one of the big things is you've got to support the liver and immune system. Those are the two organs, the liver and the immune system. And for anyone out there, you want to do a lot of greens. You want to do things like salmon and liver. And you want to do a lot of herbs and a lot of berries. That should be the basis of your diet. I like doing high doses of turmeric. I would look at doing IVs of things like glutathione. Those are some things some things you might consider and look at there as well. Great questions here from everybody as well. Let's see here. Other questions. Somebody's asking, hey, can you suggest some people to follow on Instagram? Yes, I'm going to post that later. Check back here. For some of you, it will already be posted, but I'm going to go and post that here because I want to give you my absolute best answer. I want to comb through who I follow, and I'm going to post that for you on here. I'll give you like a top 5 or top 7 or top 10 of top 5 men and women that you should be following right now there as well. These are great questions. Ducey's now saying, I'd love to get some more background in nutrition as well. Hey, we'll post there that functional nutrition course for you to check out there as well. Lizette asks, what kind of mastermind group and mentorship while I'm still getting certified as a health coach? That's a great question, Lizette. What I would do is I would just DM us on Instagram or Facebook. There's really 2 ways to do this in terms of getting some of that exposure and learning. So Lizette, just send us some information there on a DM there as well. Some people are mentioning some great people to follow. Dr. Terry Walls, Leanne Keneally. These are all great. Ducey says, Dr. Josh, I would love to grow spiritually and improve my lifestyle. Any recommendations for that? Yeah, if you want to grow spiritually, I would say that, again, I'm going to give a list here of the top people that I believe are really great spiritual people to follow. One of the people I love that actually passed away recently is Pastor Tim Keller. Tim Keller wrote the book, The Meaning of Marriage, The Reason for God, absolutely incredible. But John and Lisa Bevere also. I'm going to give a list here. There's a book by a man named Bill Johnson called Born for Significance. That's a fantastic group. Ed Silvoso, Ecclesia. That's another great book. But here's what I would say. The thing that will help you grow the most spiritually is getting part of a growth group. So going to church or a synagogue or whatever place of worship and actually getting in a small group where you can learn and grow, that's the most important one. So here's what I would do. Think about who is someone you know locally that you admire spiritually? Somebody that has a lot of integrity and compassion for others, and you say, I want to have their level of spiritual growth. Then go and ask them locally, hey, is there a group, a spiritual growth group that you recommend that you're a part of or I could get a part of? So that's what you want to ask. A few other people here. Kathy says, Dr. X, can you improve mental health in a patient? Absolutely. I mean, here's what I found over time. The biggest problem causing mental health issues is a lack of purpose and a lack of community. And what tends to happen is it's all about you're focusing on yourself and your own problems versus I'm going to go and focus on serving others. By the way, make sure to subscribe here because I'm going to do a future live and podcast all about what you're asking right now. It's all about purpose. How do you find your purpose? Some of you maybe you don't know what your purpose in life is. I have a formula for finding your purpose and then living out your purpose. And it is the greatest cure for depression or mental health issues in the world. I'm a big believer that right now, by the way, if you look at Gen Z today and millennials, the mental health issues are absolutely through the roof. And I really believe it's a cultural issue. It's a culture of all about, their identity is all about me. That's the biggest part of their identity. It's a selfish identity, all about looking at themselves. An older generation, they were looking more at the community. It's not about me, it's about our nation or our tribe or the people around us. There's actually a higher level identity, it's called a divine identity. This is where your identity is connected to who God is, and that means you're a child of God, which means then you are called for a great purpose, to turn the planet into a paradise. Think about that. Think about right now, there's areas of desert, and originally we had this small Garden of Eden. What if the entire world was a Garden of Eden? That can become a reality. So my point is for me, I wake up in the morning so excited about the day and wanting to change lives, whether it be through my business at Ancient Nutrition or leaders.com or my mastermind group, whatever it is. I get so excited because I know that my actions have eternal impact. So that's it. That takes away depression, that takes away anxiety, and then also the people you're spending time around is absolutely so essential to your mental health. So remember those two things. Purpose, a broader purpose, and your mission within that purpose. What is that thing that God has uniquely designed you to do? What are your greatest talents? That's a big thing as well. What are your greatest talents? Write down your 3 greatest talents and then optimize those and impact the world for good. And focus on adding value to others. Wow, what happens there is incredible to your mindset. You know, when I was going through the spinal infection, most of you know this is only the 3rd video I've done in the past over a year, because I had a spinal infection. I got injected with something that was supposed to be natural, my own stem cells. And what happened is bacteria got on the needle. I got infected in my back and couldn't walk for the past year. I've only been walking again for about 8 weeks now. And through that year of being bedridden, I wrote a book. And I still ran my businesses, and I still loved my family, did everything I could, but that mindset was so hard. I wanted to get pulled into despair and depression and worry, but instead I said, you know what, I got a big purpose, and it kept me out of living in that state of despair. So that's absolutely so important. By the way, if you're enjoying this live broadcast, do me a favor, punch the share button, click the love button, help me spread the word. And also feel free to comment. What was your favorite takeaway or your biggest takeaway from this live? Was it the thing about fatherless homes? Was it the Mark Twain quote? Was it something about purpose or mentorship? What was your biggest takeaway here from the live today? And by the way, again, if you want to learn more about the mastermind group, remember, send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. It's a mentorship group that I lead for business owners. If you want that, you can message me. Or if you all want to learn about the nutrition certification, how to become a certified nutritionist in root cause medicine, it's the nutrition school I started. You can send me a DM there as well on Facebook or Instagram. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back here in a few more days with another Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube Live. So excited here to continue to talk about mindset medicine.